everybody, welcome back as ever to New Millennia here in West Antarctica. And it is, well, it's a snowy day, and most of our ice processing factory here has somewhat predictably, I guess, given that we don't really have any kind of containment for it, iced over. More or less the only part that hasn't actually iced over, also somewhat predictably, is the hydrogen engines, because they're the only thing here that runs very, very hot, or evidently hot enough. I'm a little worried that parts of the O2H2 generators are not going to deal well with the icing over. We might need to build some kind of actual housing, enclosure, whatever you want to call it, around this thing. The gas canisters, the big tanks here, being frozen over, that's more or less fine. I expect that. You have to keep these things very cold to actually keep them as a storable liquid. But that is not what we're up to today, although that will be certainly something we'll look forward to in the near future. Today, we are going to summarize things. So, if I hop back into the rover, which has a cute little... let's see if I remember how to drive. Has a cute little, like, parking station here, I guess. It's very cute. It's functional. It's enough. And, oh god, yes, the powdery snow makes it really hard to see what the heck is in front of you when you're driving into your own wake. But if we head over here, we can see exactly how well the mine has been doing. Just about there. There should do. Okay, I don't think I'm in any danger of losing you. So, that down there is all iron. All of it. There is more iron here in the rock than I have probably ever seen, and we're not even through yet. I don't think we're at full I don't think we're at full extension on that piston, but we are probably getting quite close to it, which will then mean we have some potential problems with ice, because we'll have to set up something to actually get more ice once it actually starts to run dry over at the processing facility. But we have no worries whatsoever for iron for the foreseeable future, I think. If we actually have a look over here, I had to rip out a whole ton of stuff just to get in this big cargo container to actually store refined products, because it was making so many that it filled up our original refined products storage, filled up the connector, and then started filling up the rover as well. So, yeah, we had to get something actually dedicated for that. And even then, there is the better part of 300,000 kilograms of iron in here. Plus some nickel, plus some silicon, plus some cobalt. So, I think we'll be good for a considerable while. And that sort of brings me to the next thing that we'll be doing today, which is we've got ice being processed into hydrogen for hydrogen use in general, I guess, including big power. We've got the iron mine pumping out all of the iron that we'll need to make more or less everything we can imagine. Iron is a pretty potent material. You probably should have guessed that, I guess, from the whole, like, Iron Age part of human history. And that means there is only one thing left that we need to worry about, which is actual manufacturing. Now, up until this point, I have been the thing that has built everything. I have been our, like, chief architect and our chief engineer and everything. And I'm not going to say I've done a bad job. I think I've done pretty damn well for it being based in West Antarctica all by my lonesome. But I think we can do better. So, we are going to be building a central manufacturing facility. We've had the assemblers. We put them onto basically everything that we have, just like in case we need it at that site. But we need something that is huge. We need something that can build basically anything that we want and need, especially the need part, without somebody like me having to be stood out here in the snow for hours on end. So, to that end, we need that facility. And on that facility, I plan a thing. We'll see how well that turns out, but I plan a thing. And with that thing, we will be able to hopefully achieve that goal of not having to have me out in the snow making stuff, because the less exposure we get to the cold, the better, really. Okay, so I'm going to, for the time being at least, take advantage of the assembler, the basic assembler, that is just over here at the iron mine, and lay out another sort of platform, not unlike we did. Yep. Not unlike we did when we were dealing with the ice processing. Oh good, we are actually hooked up there. I had no idea for a brief... Well, actually no, we're not. There. Okay. Fortunately, I can just hang out in here and order things and then just get them into the connector. So hey, there's that. Speaking of... Dump those into our mid. Okay, so I will get some materials together and we'll start laying it out, and I'll be back with you momentarily. Okay, that should allow us to get power across at the very least. Can't do very much else over here just yet, because this doesn't have any power to actually activate its own connector, but that shouldn't take us very long to fix. And there we go, some homegrown power. That should be enough to get this connector up and running, and then we'll be able to actually see a bit more of what's going on, because then we'll actually have basically unlimited power, he said, knowing full well that in fact the ice processing facility has already gone completely out of power. Well, not out of power, but out of ice. Those huge tanks are actually completely empty. This thing might be significantly more ice hungry than I previously estimated, so we might need to make some kind of ice trawler lickety split. But now that we've actually got power going through, we don't need to worry too much about items, because the only items that could come out of this line are ice, and we don't have a compelling need to bring ice, so this is strictly speaking just for power. And I might want to shore these up at some point, just to make sure that if somebody rams them, they'll at least be able to fight back, I guess, for the most part. But now that we've gotten this, the very first thing we need, of course, is raw material storage. So that's going to be a couple of large cargo containers. And there we go. Okay, so these two large containers are going to be our raw material storage for our manufacturing. From there, we need to have an inventory sorter to, like, ensure that things don't go backwards through here. And then we're also going to want to start building out our actual manufacturing section with all of our assemblers. Now, we ideally want to make these in as compact and efficient a manner as possible, because I want to put upgrades on them, and that's going to get bulky, but we can probably just build these in a row, not unlike our H2O2 generators down there, as long as I remember exactly how wide it needs to be. Okay. Making my way back with what I am semi-confident is the last time I'm going to have to transport components over here. I just more or less need to make sure that at least one of these assemblers is hooked up to the raw materials, and then shove some raw materials into there, and then we should be able to just complete the rest of this from here? Question mark? Loud, just some loud gain noises, more or less. Oh, seriously, 5 grids short of this being functional. Ugh. At the very least, I can shove some raw materials into that assembler, and it will then work. So, there's that, at least. Okay. So, I've left this... I almost want to say on the wrong side, but no, I think that's good. I've left this with the slots on... Well, with the outer upgrade slots here. So we should be able to use one upgrade module to actually upgrade 2 of them. So I should probably make these as even number lengths, rather than what I currently have, which is 5 by 5. I am not a smart man. Anyways, we'll be getting this up and running, and hopefully... I don't think I have enough space on my person. I did also bring batteries, just to make sure that we can actually get a little bit more, like, power storage, because having redundancy is always advantageous in a system like this. Oh, and that's why I brought the steel plates. Of course, of course. But okay, let's see if I can get this hooked up. Okay, that's close enough. So, let's just pretend I will be putting something there, okay? So, small steel tubes. Yep, we definitely have those on board. We definitely have those. Beautiful. And then I can hook those up. Slap a conveyor sorter there. So that it can only go, so that items can only go one direction. Good. Is that the right direction? It's a little hard to tell from here. Oh, nope, that's the opposite direction. That is, in fact, the wrong direction. But if we get that running, then it should work. Okay, come on, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apart, and then this will be able to begin working, sort of. Fortunately, I'm out of parts, so I do actually have to go back to the mine to get them crafted. Ha! Or do I? If I just hop into here and grab the stuff out of the industrial cockpit, which will also make this significantly lighter, I can just shove them in here. Okay, production. Build planner. Let's finish these up, shall we? It's a start. It's proof of concept at the very least. And either way, it's a lot faster than going back over there. Just need to hope that that's enough iron, really. Okay, so a bit of silicon, some more construction components, and we're good. But that requires I go grab some silicon. But hey, it's a start. It's a start. It's now doing a thing. So I can also grab a whole bunch more materials anyways with the rover. This is, without a doubt, the heaviest this rover has ever been. It currently weighs 87.5 tons. So I'm going to very, very gently move it over to our little construction facility, trying very hard to keep it below 5 meters per second. Because if this hits something, it's going to destroy, firstly, the thing it hits, secondly, probably also itself. I'm not even sure if that superstructure can currently, hold this thing without being fully complete, without being, like, fully built up. But, oh boy. Of course, the greater problem is that now I'm going to actually have to try and get this ore out of here. So it's gonna be a while. But we have silicon, so that's a start. That's the main thing we were looking for. So now we should be able to finish up the things what we are in need of. So if I plunk that, get everything running, grand. The battery's already built up as well, so we don't have to worry too much about the 81 power cells I was carrying around. Well, I say carrying around. Let's be real. There was no way I was carrying it. Okay. And yep, that should be good. Let's just grab those and polish off what's left of this. There you go. There you go. Okay. So, now there should be a full hook from these down here, through that, into the junction, into the assemblers. So we should now be able to take all of these out, shove them, or at least as much of them as we can carry, shove them into here, and from there, they should still be able to grab them. So let's just chuck these in here so I have a bit more space in my inventory. Okay, so let's get a second one of these going. So add those to our planner. Get those assembling, and yep, it is pulling them through nicely. Lovely. Whereas conversely, if we go to here and we try to grab stuff out of the assemblers, we can't, because the sorter prevents us from going back that way. Grand. A one-way sorter can be useful in that regard, because there's literally nothing that requires those raw components, so we shouldn't be able to, like, shove stuff back in there, and if we did start shoving our actual components into the refined material storage, we would start to run out of space for anything else. Hoi! But I have been out here 4 hours at this point, but by next episode, at the very least, we should have all of these assemblers ready, and between now and then, I will also try and get some cargo storage for the components, and then we're going to have an interesting job, because I mentioned I have been welding everything. I am chief welder over here. I'm chief everything, really. But officially, I'm a custodian. I'm not meant to be really building everything up. I just have to, because I'm the only person here. So, there is something in the blueprint database, in the actual, like, database over in Sycamore 1, which is basically like the assembler, but externalized. It's for putting pieces together that are larger than the assembler actually itself builds, so taking those components that the assemblers spit out and assembling those. It's a little bit like a mix between a pick-and-place machine and the robot arms that you see in, like, automotive factories, that kind of thing. So we're going to be trying to get to grips with that, because if we can get that going, it's going to be way, way, way easier to prototype new vehicles, and from there we can put those like devices onto a vehicle, and then it'll be so much easier to build large-scale structures like these. So we'll be able to start building houses and all that sort of stuff. So yay, looking forward to that. I might also try and put a shelter over that as well as probably this. But that is all that I have for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time. Your eyes are getting heavy. Your mind is feeling clouded. The sound of my voice is relaxing you. You feel an urge to support this and other content I produce by going to patreon.com/lying, where you can pledge and receive fun rewards for your obedience. You will remember to support patreon.com/lying.